Let me get the full background introduction here. I used to work at CNN, and I believe at 5:30 every day on ESPN, Up Close would come on.
Right.
And it didn't matter who Roy was interviewing. I watched and listened because I wanted to see how we got from point A to point B. And so I learned how to be a better interviewer by watching you on Up Close. And it's your questions were brief. You got to the point. And people always say, oh, Roy makes people cry. And I went, Roy didn't make that many people cry. No. But he did elicit responses that you wouldn't get anyplace else.
Right.
People weren't trying to hone their craft at interviewing athletes. And you would bring somebody in, even if I wasn't interested, I was interested after you were done interviewing them.
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. But first of all, we actually put a clock on it, a number on it. 25 people cried out of 5,000 shows. But the ones that people remember are the shows where people cried. And when Rodman cried, that's when Cameron Crowe called us and they wanted to do the scene from Jerry Maguire. Originally, Rodman was going to be Rod Tidwell. People don't know that.
Wait, Rodman was going to play that role?
He turned that down the role. He was going to play Rod Tidwell.
So Cuba Gooding.
So I got to tell you a quick story. So we get to the show, they get to the movie. We're in the Sony studios. I meet Tom Cruise, and he's a big sports fan. Stock car racing, big race. He says, you got to go to see Cuba. I said, well, I live from Miami. I live near Cuba. He goes, no, Cuba. Now, Cuba Gooding was not a star at this point.
Yeah.
So he says, Cuba. And I went, where in Cuba are you from? I mean, literally that kind of nonsense. And he goes, no, that's my name. We do a scene we didn't even roll. We didn't even rehearse. We ad-libbed the scene. And the first take, when he gets the contract, you're not going to make me cry, Roy, he grabs me, and I'm on a roller, and my chair is rolling off this height seat, this heightened set. I started to fall back on my head. I'm not kidding you. And the grips grabbed me. That was the first take. The second take's the one you see. Flash forward, 6 months later. I'm in Liverpool, England. And I'm at a reception at the Cavern Club, and I get a tap on my shoulder. Swear this is true. I think I know you. It's Paul McCartney. I think I've met you before. And I said, I don't think so. No, where have I seen you? And I said, Paul, this is a thrill, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And the woman with him goes, the movie. He goes, oh, you mean Jerry Maguire? He goes, that's it, Jerry Maguire. And then he goes, what's your name? And I said, Roy. He goes, you're not going to make me cry, Roy. Now, you talk about a thrill. That was a thrill. Absolutely.
Who did you not get to interview? Like the one
Babe Ruth, I think, would probably.
Okay,
yeah.
but is there one that while you were doing the show that you couldn't get?
Mostly, we had them all pretty much. I had someone asked me about Tiger Woods. He doesn't do a lot of sit-down one-on-ones. I had him at 11 years old. I had Shaq at 16 years old. And, of course, throughout their career.
Yeah.
I remember when I had Shaq throughout his career. Shaq grew into a personality. At first, he was deeply shy and introverted. He comes off the plane after they win the Olympics. You were probably in Athens. Maybe you had covered it with NBC. I said, Shaq, you went to Athens, you win the gold medal. While you were in Athens, did you have a chance to visit the Parthenon? He goes, Roy, we went to a lot of clubs. I can't remember all of them. I swear. And then I also said to him, you ever get this? Did you ever get this when you have to interview a guy after they lose? That's the worst crap of all.
Bill Buckner.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they said, the Lakers losing 5 to the Pistons. And I got to go to the locker room in Detroit, Palace of Auburn Hills at 2 o'clock in the morning. Shaq's the last one there. I said, Shaq, ESPN wants me to ask you about your emotional state after losing the world championship, right? I'm a little pissed off. Okay, so here's my brilliant follow-up question. How pissed off are you? And he actually goes, the highest level of passivity. I mean, really. And I said one time, he and Kobe can get along, so I said, Shaq, you and Kobe are different personalities. How would you define him? He goes, well, Kobe is a loner, and me, I like to think of myself as a socialist. And I said, oh, yeah, like Karl Marx is spinning in his grave right now. But you know what it's like, Dan. To do this thing for so many years, it's an adventure. It's really a journey. It really is.
And, the key to interviewing, and we've talked about this before, I think is just being curious. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like I have to really want to know what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I always appreciated that your question got to the point. Brevity is so important in the question.
Yep.
Because I don't care about my question. People go, oh, you got great questions. I go, how are the answers?
The answers are all that matter, man.
Yes, because then your questions are better by the answers you get.
And the other thing, Dan, is when you get people who come to play, you know what that means. People who really want to do your show.
Who was the one guy that you just said, this is served on a platter here for me?
Charles Barkley. And how many times have you had Charles?
Many.
This is a natural. I one time had, I don't know if you have a picture of this, they may put it in. I interviewed Olajuwon and Barkley together because I wanted to show how two completely different cultures can come back together. And I said, gentlemen, Hakeem, Charles, here's an offbeat question. Do you believe you're going to go to heaven? So Olajuwon, well, I believe if my service to God is pure and consistent and comes from the spirit of giving for all mankind, yes, I believe I will go to heaven. I said, very nicely said, Hakeem. I said, how about you, Charles? He goes, I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a close vote. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, where you get gold from this guy.
Treasure.
You get gold from
Absolutely.
this guy. And you know what else? He's comfortable in his own skin. I don't think Jordan is comfortable in his skin as Barkley is in his.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.